And welcome in here to the Two Guys in Beer podcast studio. Andy Beckstrom, Sean Field, and joined now by the one of the owners of Thunder Brothers in Asani, Warren Thunstrom. I do get that right.
Yeah,
right, Warren Thunstrom? Okay, perfect. Want to make sure that's the first and foremost, make sure you get the names right. Yep. That's the key. But second time we've had an in-studio guest, and the first time we've had a brewery owner in with us, so we're pretty excited to be able to go through the process of the background and the history and everything that we can kind of draw out of him here for Thunder Brothers. So thanks for joining us, and happy to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
We're going to talk a little bit about some of the kind of the history, some of the background of making beer, and some of the things like that. So first and foremost, we start pretty much every episode. If you haven't watched, we select one of our beers and then we get that going. So Sean, you want to grab one?
Yeah, I'll grab one here.
Grab one here. Do you have a preference of which one here? I have the brown ale available, or the windswept Pilsner.
Well, then if I'm going to drink it, I'll take the Hatchet Man.
There we go. I think that's, do I have this one here? There we go. There we got the Hatchet Man right there for you. Let's see here. I'll probably go, I'm going to go with the brown ale. Typically, I am more of an IPA guy, generally myself, but this was highly recommended by your beer tender, Dave. When Amanda went in to be able to go get some stuff, and Warren brought some stuff for us as well. So this isn't just we went and got it. Like, he definitely brought some stuff, so we thank you for bringing some stuff as well. But yeah, he highly recommended. Said it was a local favorite, and that's what mostly people like there, so wanted to make sure I had that as part of the episode as well.
Okay.
So first and foremost,
let's get them cracking open.
It's like the best part. You get the sound of it, the initial smells.
Yeah, I like the aroma of it, and that's the first thing I like to do when I open the beer, is just smell the aroma and just gets the taste buds going, the saliva flowing.
Mm-hmm. So I think we all got different. I got the Brown-Eyed Girl Brown Ale. You have the Hatchet Man IPA. Sean, what do you have?
I've got the Blue Sky Lager. Okay. It is very tasty. I'm enjoying this already.
There you go. Perfect. I'm enjoying the Brown Ale. I could definitely tell it's kind of that typical, or not typical, but that natural brown fall type, winter type of feel to it. So very, very tasty. And you got the IPA. Can you describe... Yeah, I guess even, kind of what your thoughts or what your intentions were for it when you started kind of with that idea.
For the IPA?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of our favorites to drink that we did not make was Todd the Axeman.
Okay.
My brother's name is Brett. So when they quit making Todd the Axeman, we thought that was a shame, so we came up with Brett the Hatchet Man.
There we go.
But the idea is to make a straightforward, not East Coast, not West Coast IPA where the first thing you hit is hops.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, you did mention Brett. I want to let all the viewers and listeners know, too. He is an owner with you. You guys are brothers, correct? Yeah. All right, just want everybody to know that. Due to our limitations of our studio space, we were only able to have one of the two on, so we're thankful Warren was able to come up. But Brett is also part owner and part of the process, too. Just wanted to put that out there for everybody so they're aware. So.
And just kind of another little bit of background. We learned earlier today as well. You met Amanda when you got here.
Yeah.
She actually used to work with your wife.
Really?
Ruth is your wife, correct?
Yeah.
So I don't know if she still is, but she was, Amanda worked for Extension in Asani County for a bunch of years. It's been like 10 years now, but years ago is when she worked with her. So
yeah,
we have a little bit of a connection.
Yeah, I never met any of her coworkers.
So a little bit of a connection. So, yeah. And Sean's familiar. Are you still involved with the Rendezvous?
Yeah, I still own the coffee shop.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't know that I think I've driven by it numerous times, but
that's almost as good.
There we go. Perfect. Usually it's at night when I'm there, so.
Right.
But Sean has been there, I think, multiple times.
Yeah, I've been to Rendezvous a lot. It's been there as long as I can remember. I grew up in the area too, so I remember probably 20 years ago I've been going there. It's been there that long, hasn't it? Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
Pretty much in Asani my whole life.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So I've been there quite a bit. So, all right, Warren, well, let's start off at the very beginning then. Where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
I grew up in Cambridge, and moved away for about 15 years until I got married, and we decided to settle down somewhere. And my wife said, "Where do you want to live?" I said, "I do not care, except I don't want to go home." And we went home. So now we live in Isanti.
Nice. What did you do as a kid? Did you play sports? Anything like that?
No, I was the most unathletic person. I'm the one that they said, "Hey, good try.
Oh.
Good try."
There you go.
Me and my friends actually got kicked off a church softball team.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you pull that off?
Just for being that inept. They said, "You should find something that you'll have more fun if you do something you're better at."
Sure. So what have you, before you owned the brewery and got into that whole business, what did you do for a living prior to that?
Well, I was at the coffee shop before that, and before that, I worked for a variety of manufacturing companies, kind of as I got hired when they had problems.
Oh, okay.
And it was my job to fix the problems.
Nice. That's what you did.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
We're in the fixer.
So now we know a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and what have you done. Where did you and your brother get the inspiration for brewing beer, to start a brewery? Or why did you start brewing beer?
Well, we liked going to all the breweries when they started up, and for a while, when it was just started, you could say, "Hey, this week we're going to go to this one. It just opened." But then when it started being 3 and 4 and 5 a week, well, that got. But there was nothing going on up this way, and I personally saw 3 different plans that were going to open a brewery in Cambridge, and they fell apart for one reason or another. And so we thought, well, the Egyptians were making beer 5,000 years ago. It can't be that hard.
Right.
So we decided to give it a shot.
Oh, nice. So where did you start then? Just in your garage, in your basement? Like, where was the first time you and your brother brewed beer?
Yeah, the first time was in my garage, and we were pretty inept. And when we got the first batch done and we tried to, my brother said, "Well, congratulations, we've reinvented Coors Light."
Nice.
So it obviously was kind of a learning process then, right out of the gate, trying to be able to experiment with different things.
Absolutely. We decided we wanted a brewery before we knew how to brew beer.
Okay, that was going to be kind of my next question. Like, if it's usually, or not usually, but a lot of times, if you have kind of a couple of failures, you're like, well, that was fun to try for a little bit. So, what kind of kept you going with it? Just you wanted to do the brewery?
Oh yeah, and my wife would love to hear this, but my brother and I are both quite stubborn. So it was like, well, it didn't work. Well, what did you do? And so we had to keep going until we could find a passable beer. And then when we found it wasn't that hard to make a good beer, we thought, well, why are we buying beer that isn't so good?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a couple of, you'd mentioned going to a lot of breweries before, do you have a couple that stand out to you that, not necessarily a favorite, it's kind of hard to pick a favorite of thousands of breweries, but or is it more specific beers that kind of stand out for you?
More of the beers. Like Castle of Danger gets a tremendous amount of publicity for their cream ale, but I think Urban Growler makes a better one. I love Surly's Fiery Hell.
Okay.
Which they will not can. So I make a trip down there every now and then. And then Fair State's got some very interesting sours that we like to try.
I do like Fair State. Yeah. I like all 3 of those breweries. So.
Yeah, they are all pretty good. Mm-hmm. As far as Surly goes, I really still like the Furious a lot. That's still my favorite. Mm-hmm. Even though they do can that one, of course, but over the ones that are in the brewery, I still like the Furious quite a bit myself.
Yeah, those are they got a lot of different really nice options at Surly, that's for sure.
They do.
So when it comes to, Warren, to learning how to brew, you guys, was it all just kind of trial and error for you guys in your garage, or did you try to do any formal training, or did you reach out to anybody?
Well, it is a basic process. I mean, the Egyptians just put a jar of cooked grain out with water and let it ferment in the sun. And that was the earliest beer. But we went beyond that. I mean, we read everything. We did the YouTube. We did a lot of reading. I've got a small library about brewing. But we didn't want to get the formal training because, like everything else, you can go too far. Dakota County has a tremendous course network of classes you can take, but to make a good beer is not that difficult.
Mm-hmm. Once you get the process kind of refined.
Once you understand what's going on, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you guys first decide to start selling it? How did that come about? Was that like the mission the whole time, from the first time you brewed it in the garage?
No, it started out just being fun for us and our friends. And, the brewery is selling the beer is how you recover your money, hopefully. But
what goes into the decision-making process? We talked a little bit before this, too, about, so once you decide, okay, you're going to do a brewery, picking the location, or is it just kind of what's available, or did you have a specific spot in mind? I mean, probably close to home, but like, did you have a specific spot in mind, or was it just kind of what happened to be available with a realtor? Or...
Yeah, no, at the time we started, commercial property was very slim. Mm-hmm. So we took the first big enough space we could find.
Mm-hmm. I had been to your previous location over by the down by the tanning place, the chiropractor, and that part. What went into the decision making then to move to the other? Was it just more space, more availability, or was it just better visibility along the highway?
Well, it was definitely better visibility, and our neighbors did not want to have a brewery next to them. They thought it despite the fact that the landlord extended the lease, they didn't think that it shone well on them. So we were, who wants to stay where you're not welcome?
Sure, that's fair. It is kind of interesting with some of that. Like there was you talked about breweries that had plans that were going to go forward. There was one in Malacca at one point in time that was going to go there, and they had to rezone. It was on a block because they zoned by block. But that one little building was still zoned commercial, but they couldn't do it because the whole block was zoned for residential. And when they were trying to zone it differently, like residents, like, oh, there's going to be drunk drivers all over the place and people ripping up and down the highway, and it's just going to be chaos. We don't need another bar in town. And it was just kind of impressive to listen to, not in a positive way, but impressive to listen to what some of the pushback is sometime with that. Like you're saying, that would reflect bad upon them, that, there's this, I think still somehow there's still some people out there that think, oh, it's a bar, or it's going to have these type of negative issues. But I've never really experienced that with all the breweries. It's always been positive, I guess, to me.
Yeah, I'd say you can make two lists of bars and breweries, and old-time bars are dark. Old-time bars have very few windows or smoked windows. Breweries generally want a lot of light in. They encourage families to come in. Mm-hmm. They close earlier so they aren't getting the 2 a.m. closing crowd. So drunkenness is rarely a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too, about like the brewery culture too. What I've noticed over the years of going to microbreweries, it's a family atmosphere. I've never seen a fight in a brewery. You go to a bar and people are always trying to fight, like you said, later on in the night, and it just gets kind of ridiculous. And the most people that I go to the brewery, they have 2, maybe 3 beers, and they cut out of there, and they still drive responsibly. Not that people don't maybe drink a little too much at a brewery from time to time, but it doesn't seem as prevalent or as common as a bar. It's just more of a fun, relaxed atmosphere. You're drinking good beer. You're having good conversation. Specifically at your brewery, I know I didn't get a chance to go. I tried to go there when you were doing the helicopter races, just fun things like that. Like, I want to go and do one of those. So if you guys do that again, you might find me there trying to fly one of those things. Like, that's fun stuff. Mm-hmm. You go there to have a good time and drink beer, not be stupid, When you first opened your brewery, then when you moved to the original location to the new one, did you guys encounter any issues with licensing fees and trying to get approved by the city, or how does that process work?
It It's never ending. Is what you find out you have to have all these licenses to open a brewery, and then they say, "Oh, and you want a license to sell it? Oh, and you want a license to can it? Oh, you know." And so it goes on and on and on. And every time you make a new label, you have to pay to get that registered. And
really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think if you make a new beer, like you have to submit all the specs and everything to the state for approval.
Yeah. And they're not picking on you, but that's just the system you got, and
Sure.
you don't really know that until you get involved in it.
Sure. Yeah, I never would have thought that.
And there isn't really, at least not that I've been able to find, not that I research it all that often, but I don't think that there's just a standard checklist out there
No.
that has all of the stuff. It's probably a lot of, okay, well, I guess we're not doing it this week. We're going to submit for that and wait a little while.
And then every city and county are different. Our county does not choose to get involved, but the city very much cares, and the state cares whether you're on city water or well water.
Oh, sure.
Are you on well water or is it city water?
No, we're
there?
city water.
Okay. We've talked a little bit on previous episodes too that water is such a huge thing. Do you have a process, or is the water that you have kind of up to what you want it to be, or do you have like filters or reverse osmosis, whatever it may be?
Yeah. No, we the water is very good quality, but then we also do charcoal filter it, and then we test the pH before we get involved in it.
Cool.
Okay, so there's still a process there to make sure that water is where you want it to brew your beer. What kind of equipment did you first start out with? As far
You
as
mean
brewing?
when we're down to being a pot, or when we started a brewery?
Well, you can start that. The first thing you started with as a pot and the first brewery?
Well, we did. We started with a pot, and you got all these magazines from like Brew R Us or any Brewing for Dummies and stuff, and some of it works and some of it doesn't work so well. Now, when we got into brewing, we knew into starting a brewery, you have to be very careful about deciding what your power source is going to be. Are you going to use steam? Well, if you have steam, what's going to generate that steam? Do you have to have licenses for like boilers? Or are you going to go electric? Or are you going to go gas? And are you vented for these things?
Oh, sure.
And so we found an outfit that sold us, they are now defunct, called Colorado Brewing, which was brewery size brew in a bag, where with steel containers. So you would brew 200 gallons and you could lift them up and they drain and everything. And it's all power assisted. And that's worked out pretty well for us.
Now, is a lot of the equipment the same at the new location, or did you upgrade equipment with a different space?
No, we moved.
Okay.
We moved what we had.
Okay. So we did the different breweries, or not breweries, the different beers that we have here, the brown ale, the Pilsner, IPA. What is kind of the thought process when you decide? Do you just try to experiment with different things on a smaller scale, or do you just have an idea and let's toss something into a big batch and see how it turns out? Like what's the process developing, I guess, a new taste or a new flavor?
Well, the amount of time to make 5 gallons or 200 gallons is the same. So it's not a time factor. It's how much money do you want to risk on your ingredients? Mm-hmm. And if you're just trying to tweak something, we might want a Pilsner with a little more zest or something. We'll just go ahead and do it. But now, we're going to do a cranberry beer.
Okay.
And this will be quite a bit different for us. So, are we going to go whole hog or are we going to go half hog? We haven't quite decided yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is with that, you mentioned kind of tweaking it. Do you do like a fair amount of tweaking, or do you have a handful of them that are, no, this is the way that it's going to be. This is how it's worked, and it's pretty much the same every time?
Well, once you make a beer like any of the ones we're drinking here, you can't sell it under that label if you change it. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to change the hops or change something, you have to put a new label on it. And because your ABV will be different, and it'll taste different, and the state wants to know what you're making.
Right.
So we will change. We're not at all hesitant about that, and we have some fun doing that. We have a series of beers we do in the summer we call lawnmower beers, because when you're done mowing the lawn, that's what you want to slam down.
That's what we talk about. We have a lawnmower scale.
Yeah.
It's mostly kind of in jest to. There was an article years ago from that had, I believe, Pete Coors in it. That he when he for a long time, but until obviously things have changed in the industry, but for a long time he didn't understand craft beer. He didn't understand. None of it made sense to him. It wasn't a matter of getting drunk. It was more a matter of, well, if I'm going to mow the lawn, I want to have one before I start. I want to have maybe two while I'm mowing lawn, and maybe a couple, 3, 4 afterwards. Like just to stay refreshed. So Coors Light that's his mindset, and that's all he would ever kind of get behind. So now, kind of in jest or whatever, we kind of have a little lawnmower scale of how many you would have mowing a proverbial lawn.
So we do. So I'll rate the Blue Sky Lager on our lawnmower scale. A 5 is the best. I would give this a 5. I'm definitely enjoying this lager, Blue Sky Lager from Thunder Brothers, and I would definitely want to drink as many as I could after I mowed the yard.
Trying to remember
it's crisp, it's clean. I really do like it. This is a really good beer.
Good.
Trying to remember what the other scale was that we had. I think it was maybe sitting by the campfire scale. We try to make up different things. Just have fun with it.
For the darker, cozier beers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This would definitely be something that I would have, like either out at the campfire, or otherwise we have a little green bin Zebo that we've, made out there, like a little fire pit in there. I definitely have a couple of these out there with that for sure.
So talking about these ingredients and stuff, and how you can't change them much because you have to file the licenses for the state to change the labels and all that. Where do you source your ingredients? Do you try to do it locally here? Is there a national supplier?
Well, we try to do as much locally as we can. There is Malt Works up by Detroit Lakes, and they do some good grain. BSG is the nation's supply house. There are some hop growers around locally, and we have bought hops from them. Are you aware of the hop farm out in Foley?
I was just going to say, I thought there was one over towards Foley. I wasn't sure where it is, but I feel like I've driven by it before.
Yeah, they did a real nice job, but they got hit with a windstorm. And then they found that if you had damage in Washington State, where hops is a big product, you can insure it. But it's a niche crop in Minnesota, and they wouldn't cover the damage, and it put them out of business.
Couldn't get crop insurance?
Right.
Because we've, on a very smaller scale or whatever, like we have some farmland here, and me and my brother-in-law, we both like beer and brewing beer and drinking beer and being involved in that. We've tossed around the idea of well, let's get a couple of posts and toss them up there. I have some hops growing on the side of the silo out here, enough to make about a 5-gallon batch, so not exactly a large scale, but we had talked about that too. So that's interesting to know that it's not something that be able to find much for crop insurance on that. Yeah. I suppose because of the scale of it, there's just not much of it.
Well, you got a couple 100 acres out here. You might as well
exactly
start.
Yeah, 100%. Only if we can get the insurance.
right. So on an average year, then, Warren, how many pounds of hops do you buy? How much grain?
Well, at first we were trying to inventory and balance how much of this and that and the other thing. What we found is that instead, for a better use of our money, everything is so readily available, we really only need to buy about 2 or 3 brews ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
Because we can get everything delivered in 48 hours.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
You didn't run into any supply chain issues much at all, a handful of years ago?
Well, I mean,
I suppose everything probably was, but
yeah, during COVID, things were a little ugly. But other than that, no.
How did that process, I guess, now that I mentioned it, how did that process kind of go? What were some of the changes that you guys went through? Because that was, I think you had already been in the new location a little while, but it's still a different location. Now you're trying to do to-go beers, or what was that process kind of going like?
All right, you lost me.
just through 2020, or just through the COVID years, with all the regulations and everything. Some restaurants could sell some stuff, but
yeah, 2020 the tap room had to close, but what we would do is we'd still make beer, and we would put on our Facebook page okay, Saturday we're selling and filling growlers from this hour to this hour, and that's all we could do.
Were you able to do anything outside, or is that still against like regulations of being too much crowds or anything like that?
Oh no, we do. We had a couple of smoker fests with barbecue trucks this summer, and we do. We've had beanbag or cornhole and things like that. So no, it's not been a problem.
You mentioned a smoker fest. Is that like a competition thing, or it just bring some smokers out there?
No, it's a competition thing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Last week we had our buddy Clint, who's a competition smoker, on there. So, Clint, if you're watching and listening, we'll have to get you set up with that one. So, right after we have the two guys competition out here,
Right?
It might be just him, but that's fine.
We're always looking for something to interest people. And so at one point we thought, well, what about drone racing? Oh, yeah, no, that we went online and looked, and the people, it's so fast, it's like trying to follow mosquitoes.
It's super
Right.
fast.
I watched it on TV at one point. I'm like, I don't know how you track it. I don't know how you like. It was weird.
And then we thought, well, there's these guys that do actual medieval combat.
Oh, heck yeah. Sign me up for that.
And they have to make their own uniforms, and it's like 100 pounds. But because of that, they look like these guys on the old electric football games that vibrate.
Oh,
They can run. They can barely move. So we thought, no, that's too slow.
sure. So who comes up with those ideas to do those events and the fun, excitement things that you guys put on there? You guys just all brainstorm it together? Just, that might sound like fun.
Actually, I think our staff comes up with most of it. If probably speaking of just my brother and I, we are probably the worst marketeers in the world.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
So we rely on the imagination of the staff.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fun. That includes them, too, and keeps them more engaged. And I suppose they really enjoy what they're doing anyways at a brewery, 'cause it's a different type of work. You know, people are more passionate about it and interested in it and stuff.
I have seen you guys have done like trivia, and I think isn't there like a young professionals networking thing that was set up by the realist agents. I think they're involved in that. I play baseball with Brody, so I like to heckle him every time that I can. So
Trivia is very popular. We have teams. Anybody can do it. You can have a team. You can do it individual, but it's gotten to the point where we have identifiable people that come every week, and so now it's a grudge match.
Yep.
So that's a lot of fun.
I don't know what that's like at all.
No. Andy never plays trivia anywhere. So, thinking of the early days of when you guys first opened, do you have any like memorable moments that stand out when you first got going that really like, yeah, this is really cool?
Most of our memorable moments are about things we did wrong.
Oh, sure. Like what? Name one thing you did wrong.
Well, we made a batch of beer and we burned it. And so, gosh, we don't want to send that down the drain. What can we do to salvage it? So we're trying to doctor it up, and we found that we could make a pretty good beer out of it if we added barbecue sauce.
Oh.
But it wouldn't stay in solution. So we said, well, we got to get rid of that burnt taste. What are we going to do? And we said, charcoal filtering.
There we go.
So we bought one of those pitchers that has a charcoal filter for a test run. We poured the beer in, and we poured it into the glass. It was amazing. It took out the alcohol. It took out the taste. We had just brown water.
Oh, perfect.
So we did end up sending that batch down the drain.
Oh, no.
So that's going to be a tough day to just flip the switch or, throw the lever and watch it just flow.
And to me, that would be like watching money go down the drain. Like, oh, no.
Yeah,
there it
literally.
goes. Yeah. So when you guys first started brewing, opened the brewery, how did you decide on what styles and flavors you wanted to start with first?
Strictly by what we liked.
Oh, okay.
We didn't think we were too far out of the norm. So, there are some beers like Surly's Heart of Darkness series, very popular. Not for me.
No.
We ain't going to make a clone of that one. So we started by just doing what we like.
Sure. Okay.
Sean had mentioned before, like some different moments, some memorable moments. Was there a specific moment during the process, like once, because I opened a bar at one point in time, and it was kind of like, okay, now you've gotten to that realization, I got it open and we're doing the thing. Was there a moment for you where it was, okay, this is going to work. This is going well. People like it. Like, was there a moment, or was it just kind of over time? You're like, oh, we've been open for 5 years. Like,
Yeah, no, that's it, because it's more of a process, because it was a grind, and you got to get the bills paid, and how many people are going to come in tomorrow, and da 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 da. And of course, you have your high moments when someone says, "Oh, I really like that beer," or things like that. But no, it's just steady state.
What is there any type of feedback you receive from customers or family that have kind of gone into your brewing process on kind of how you shape your recipes and change them?
Oh yeah, we had customers that said they wanted lighter beer than what we normally make, so we tried it, and they said, that seems to cut down on the taste. And we said, well,
Yeah.
do you buy Coors Light for the taste?
Right.
And then we said, so we're going to give that up. Yeah, we're going to stick with the taste instead.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part about beers is the flavor and taste. I don't drink many light beers myself because of that. You know, when you drink a beer, you want a taste and a flavor. I don't know if you want to try a knockoff of this one, but it's one of Andy's and our favorites. Have you ever had Widowmaker?
Yes.
from Q&O?
That's one of my favorites. You should try to make some sort of smoky flavored beer in the future. You'll see me there every day then.
So what was that brewery that used to be in Lino Lakes that specialized in smoky beers? It was Viking Hall theme.
I had been there at one point in time. It was a brother-in-law just loved it. I think me and Amanda had been there one time. I can see it. It was right on the highway there.
They're still around, only they moved to Ely.
Okay. Oh, I didn't all the way to
Oh,
Ely.
that's a big move.
Not just across the street. Okay.
No. But they specialized in
come to
all
me.
these heavy smoked beers.
Yeah. It was very, very smoky. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it was kind of a Norse theme kind of deal. I don't remember what it was now. I had been there though. I think somewhere I have a growler wall that I has like 120. I collect growlers, so I think I have a growler probably from them over there somewhere.
Hammerheart.
There it is.
Oh.
There it is.
Hammerheart.
Yep.
That's what it was.
Perfect. Yeah, it was pretty. It was good for what they did.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily like I like some stuff kind of smoked, but everything was very heavy smoked, and
Sure.
not my favorite, but it was still good. I mean, for what it was, if that's what you like and that's what you're into, it probably was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So think about after you've been open for a while, a year or 2 years. How has the growth been in the brewery from your initial year? How many barrels would you say you brewed the first year to how many barrels do you brew now on average?
We're probably about quadruple what we started with, but we do not want to grow much. If we could get by with just 100% of our business being in the tap room and being a local tap room, that would be just fine. We do canning and distribution. We self-distribute just to try to attract people to the tap room. All of our 4-packs, one of the cans will have a tag on that says free beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Bring this beer to the brewery.
I think we have one.
Yeah,
in the fridge, actually,
that was it when Amanda went and got that. She specifically pointed that out, that one of those has that. Is that part of a recycling program? Is there just to kind of get people in there?
It's just to get people in there. That's what we really want is we're kind of going for the idea of like a coffee shop with alcohol. We just want people to come in, socialize, visit, have a couple beers, go home. And enough people do it often enough that we pay the bills.
There, I like it. Yeah, we definitely noticed that on one of the cans. We actually, she thought, it's like, maybe we get 4 free beers because there's 4 cans. And we were looking at it, we were like, well, there's only 1 sticker. So maybe it's just 1.
So with that being said, if you get enough business to operate your business through just the tap room, would you pull the beer out of the local liquor stores that it's in now, or would you still try to keep it in there?
We would keep it in for those for those liquor stores that wanted it. I mean, if they felt like, hey, we could use that space better for somebody else, well, then we'd be glad to go away.
Sure. Now, I've seen you in the Sandy liquor store and the Cambridge liquor store. Is there any others around here?
We've been in Bram.
I was going to say, I think that there's some in Bram.
Yeah, and they are pouring at 3 of the local wineries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, we'd like to get on tap with 1 or 2 places. Again, just to spread the idea of come on down and meet us. But we don't need an empire.
Sure. It's just for the love of brewing and just the camaraderie and the fun.
Yep.
Wonder what would it take to get on tap at a bar? You know, like the Cambridge Bar and Grill, I've seen they had, like 320 was there once a few years ago with one of their beers. What would that take to do that?
Well, it's not a regulatory thing or anything. It's just what they think their customers want. And because we run a tap room, some places might think we would be a competitor because we're too close.
Oh, sure.
You know, so I would think that probably nobody within 5 miles would want us on tap.
Oh, okay.
But if Dairy Queen wants us on tap, that's fine.
Sure.
You know?
Do you have the capacity in your facility there to put beer in kegs then?
Yeah.
Can somebody come in like myself and buy a keg? You do? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
we sell kegs.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. Cool.
I'm going to have to keep that in mind for the Two Guys in Beer podcast smoking competition with Clint.
So I do have another question, kind of talking about beer, and I don't know if I saw this on your Facebook page or not, but it's kind of becoming a thing, you know. Marijuana is becoming more legal everywhere, and I've seen beers with THC in it. Did you have one with THC in it because that shop is right next to you?
Oh, boy, you've really opened a big can.
It is quite tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right now it's just CBD.
Oh, okay.
You know, THC hemp-derived, which is like the poor cousin.
Sure.
And you are not allowed to mix THC and alcohol.
Okay. I was wondering, like, how that would even jive, you know.
Yeah, in fact, I'm interested in how that's gonna shake out after the first of the year, because we talked to we do make a THC seltzer, but we talked to the state, like, okay, what can we do after the first of the year when all marijuana is legal? And they said you can't do alcohol and marijuana unless you have 2 separate addresses with 2 separate buildings. So he said, well, I guess we're not going to do that.
Sure.
Fair enough.
I mean, does THC really need to be in beer anyways? You know, I don't know that it really needs to. Like, what would be the benefit of having that in beer?
I don't use it. I don't discourage anyone who wants to use it, but I don't have any experience. And I guess, though, you look at Colorado, they seem to put it in everything.
Sure.
It's in wine. It's in beer.
Oh, I never knew they put it in wine.
Yeah.
Colorado does a little bit of everything. They kind of run their own operation.
Yeah, they kind of do, don't they? Now, I understand the CBD, you know, because there's a lot of health benefits from that, you know, that I've read. People with arthritis or anxiety or sleep stuff, you know, I don't know if that would really work for sleeping, have CBD in beer or whatever, but I can see the health benefits to that portion, or that makes sense to me to have that in beer. But THC, I always just kind of wondered, you know, the people that use THC and drink beer, like, how does that mix, you know? But
yeah, be interesting. So kind of a little bit of a left turn. You guys mentioned the involvement, and I like the can, the label. If you kind of go around the label here, it's both you guys on the label here.
Yeah.
And the tables, which I really like those tables that you have there.
Oh,
it's like an electric thing. Were you involved in that, or did you just buy them like that?
No, we paid a guy to come in and do it.
Okay.
Yeah, because we happened to see little pieces done at an art show. So he said, "Could you do big pieces?" He said, "Sure."
That must have been kind of a fun day.
Yeah, and they use scavenged microwave ovens.
Really?
Yeah,
I suppose large power supply.
yeah.
Interesting. So involvement obviously on the label, but so how involved are you guys still in, like, I mean, obviously like the background, the day-to-day, the normal running of a business, but as far as like beer tending or being there, you guys here still pretty routinely, or is it more got other people kind of running the front side of things?
Well, we are the only two people that make the beer and keg it and clean the equipment and et cetera, et cetera. Our staff runs the bar. We will tend bar occasionally, my brother more than I, but that's because he'll do that and while I do the books. So, and then we both show up for all the events. So we're not absentee landlords.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause it's kind of interesting. We've read about or discussed different breweries that when they get so big, they're just basically the name or the face, but they're not involved in anything anymore. So it's kind of nice to be able to still have that attachment to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to brewing beer, Warren, we've kind of talked about some of the ingredients you use and kind of the ideas of how you've come up with it. What we've kind of noticed in the brewing community is how many different breweries kind of collaborate together. Have you guys collaborated with another brewery on brewing any type of beer of any kind?
No, we haven't. Partially, I suppose, because we haven't been approached, and partially because my brother and I have enough trouble agreeing between the two of us.
Sure.
There is a funny story. A few years ago, the brewing community had a contest, and you had to make a beer out of Minnesota ingredients. And I won't name names, but the winner used milfoil and zebra mussels.
Okay.
And
interesting.
Yeah. And they won, and it was quite clever. And then it had to be pulled from the market because you can't legally have animal proteins in beer.
Oh.
But it was an honest mistake.
Sure.
So, but that's why you aren't drinking it now.
Sure. Interesting.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of good information. If there were to be somebody that's just starting out, like let's say me and Sean are going to open a brewery in 2026. We're not, because I don't know that that's going to happen.
Yeah, that won't happen.
But let's say, let's say that I won the Mega Millions on Friday, and like buying the equipment and things like that aren't an issue. What are some tips that you would give to somebody that is maybe just starting out, I guess even as a home brewer?
The very first thing is decide what you want to get out of it. If you're looking to become a huge business, well, your approach is going to be different than if you just want to say you make the best beer that you and your buddies like. And you have to satisfy yourself before you can satisfy anyone else.
I like it. Sean, you got more on your list here?
Yeah, I was kind of curious. What's the most popular beer you guys have right now?
Right now would be the Blue Sky.
I can taste why. Has that been your most popular beer the whole time you guys have been open, from the first location to the second, or has it kind of changed?
It changes with time. We make one in the summer that's very, very heavy in citrus hops, and that's a real summer seller. Blue Sky is probably the best year-round.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. How do you, how does innovation go for you guys while keeping true to your same kind of brand of your brewery? Like, how does that, I can't get the right question there. As far as innovation, we kind of talked about you don't really change things too much because of the label on the can, but when you do come out with a new beer and stuff, how does any new beer you come out with, how do you keep that in mind to keep with your same branded image of the beers you already have?
Well, see, you're much more sophisticated than we are. We don't have an image. I mean, we're two schmucks that are enjoying what we do in making beer. What we will do is, and we generally do this every winter, is we will make some test beers in 5-gallon batches.
Oh, okay.
And put them on the bar and just give it away. But we say, but you don't get this unless we get a review.
Sure.
Written paper. Right now, we want to know what you think.
Oh, okay. And that kind of shapes.
That kind of shapes, and then it's people are interested. Like, well, this avocado one is not for me. Or whatever.
Sure.
What date does that happen at?
Well, like we did last winter, we did kvass, which is Russian brewed tea, and it's alcoholic. But a few people liked it, but not enough that we're going to go crazy with it.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a little bit of crowdsourcing to a certain extent.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I suppose kind of staying with what's something you like, but at the same time getting feedback. So, so we see the mini growler. Do you guys still do the full growlers, or is that just if somebody brings one in?
No, we do the full growlers too.
Okay, gotcha. I just want to make sure I judge my wife for getting the small one. Right. How am I supposed to watch the Vikings game with just like 2 beers?
So in previous episodes, Warren, we've kind of talked about he's kind of a big IPA drinker. I don't really have a specific. I like IPAs, but I'll kind of drink a little bit of everything. We did one episode that was out of a North Dakota brewery that was dill pickle flavored beer, and we kind of went on a little tangent about it. Seems like some IPAs are getting kind of gimmicky with their flavors, like a dill pickle beer. It was okay, but are you really going to buy a 4-pack of dill pickle flavored beer? You know what I mean? So do you guys have any of those type of gimmicky type beers? Have you ever tried that? Just some crazy flavor just for the heck of it, throwing it out there for an IPA?
We have not. I can tell you last week at the coffee shop, we had pickled herring coffee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, the brewery, we haven't. Some of the ones, like you say, have turned out to be pretty interesting, but some of the ones like Captain Crunch beer they had one time,
sure,
not a big fan.
Yeah. I've seen, what else have we seen? The York Peppermint Patty beer. I forget the company that made the salted nut roll beer. That wasn't too bad.
Oh, yeah.
Who made that? That was okay.
Now Invictus just made Nut Goody.
Oh, did they? Oh, okay.
And there was a State Fair beer for a little while. It was the salted nut roll, the Pearson salted nut roll.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't remember who that was, though.
Yeah,
I know I've seen it, though.
A can. We got cans of them somewhere, but it was years ago. But anyways, yeah. Yeah, we were just kind of talking about that. It seems like, we like IPAs. Andy really likes IPAs, but sometimes some of those flavors seem to get a little over the top and like away from like a true beer, I guess.
Yeah, well, in trivia the other week, they just had asked, what was the strongest beer ever made? And it is...
snake venom.
Right.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I think we talked about it at once.
I was trying to find it. I haven't found it yet. But
it's made in Scotland. I don't think you'll be able to find it here. 161 proof.
That's crazy. It'd be like one little sip. Oh, that's all we need of that.
You just pop the top and you smell it.
So what makes... I agree with you. What makes that a beer?
Like,
it's more alcohol than...
It would be pure alcohol, right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they come up with that stuff, but I suppose there's a market for it if it's still out there. You know, some people's buying it somewhere. But so what's the biggest challenge like breweries currently face, or your brewery? What do you think is the biggest challenge?
Well, the brewing industry seems to be contracting in Minnesota. So I'd say some people got over enthusiastic. I'd say the biggest challenge we face is just trying to perfect our brewing. We make some good beer, but we think we could do better.
Sure.
If you were to list, even if it's a handful of things, but if you were to think about what is one of or a couple of things that you're probably most proud of through this entire process, like from the idea, like in the, just with the pot in the garage all the way up to now, like anywhere in there, like just some of the things, or even maybe the top thing that you're probably most proud of.
Well, we've got a handful of inventions, and I use that word very loosely, that has made life easier, and they've always been head slappers, like why didn't we think of that long ago, you know? But it's kind of cool, and we see other people struggle, and we go, wow, we got that one nailed down. We know how to do that. Mm-hmm. We enjoy the fact that you're talking about some that grow real big. Well, we've grown some, but we're approachable. And so we like knowing who walks through the door. And we like being on good terms with everyone in the city. We have no problem talking to anyone on the city council, the police department. We're in good graces. And, yeah, I guess that's what we're happiest about.
Well, so building those relationships with the community, and that's super important, yeah. Do you guys have any new upcoming releases, beers that you can tell us about now that haven't come out yet, or any new events or anything coming up?
Well, we're going to have that cranberry beer. That's going to take about a month. And next Saturday, we have a Tai Chi instructor coming.
Oh, okay.
So it's just, he's coming into the brewery, and it's just during our normal hours, show people how to move, and he's very enthusiastic, and he says he can make everybody's life a little bit better.
Sure.
So we'll see. I think that's all we got on the plate for the next. Oh, well, then we're going to celebrate Dry January. Everybody has got their New Year's resolutions, so we are going to do a dry seltzer for the people that want it, and we're going to do an energy drink for those people that want it.
Oh, interesting.
So we don't want. We sell beer, but we don't want anyone to drink that doesn't want to drink.
Sure.
So. Well, we still want their company.
Sure. Any helicopter races in the future again?
Probably next summer.
How'd that go? Did it go pretty well? Because I didn't get there. I really tried, but...
Well, it was real fun because they're radio controlled, and they're only about as big as your beer can. And we'd have them go through hula hoops and under tables and stuff, and then... Yeah, we just had a great time with them.
Sure. Did that create a lot of excitement? Did a lot of people try it out?
Most people were hesitant. They'll go, you do it first.
Anybody pretty successful?
Yeah. Some of the usually our staff, because they'd play with them before anyone else got there.
Sure.
Makes sense.
Got to practice and try it out.
That's right.
Well, cool. Yeah, you got anything more on your...
No, I have nothing else. We appreciate your time, Warren. We want to give another plug to Thunder Brothers Brewery in Isani, Minnesota. Where can people find you? On Facebook? Any other social media?
Instagram. Highway 65 between North Cambridge and Isani. You can find us there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Anything else you'd like to add just as a recap or anything else that we haven't asked about?
No, it's just that we've been enjoying the whole process, and we'd like people to come in and enjoy with us.
Wonderful. Yeah, we hope everybody does, because it's a fun atmosphere. You know, it's kind of nice and laid back, and cool place. We actually had 2 years ago, I think we had I play baseball with the Eastern Mini. We had our end of the year recap, our little meeting for playoffs at the end of the year, actually at the brewery. We sat outside on some of the picnic benches for a little bit, but.
So isn't that the team that our landlord's daughter manages?
Might be.
I think so.
Well, they'd be the Redbirds in Isani.
Oh no, that wasn't.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean it's always a great time going out there, but. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to be there, and cool atmosphere and a lot of good beer. So definitely go and check that out. If you're looking to find us on anything, check it out on all the podcast places. Like, share, subscribe, the general, everything like that. Sean, anything else you want to toss in?
No, when you get to the Thunder Brothers Brewery, I had the Big Sky Lager. Make sure you get yourself some of those, or Blue Sky Lager. I'm sorry, get yourself one of those. Try it out. It's super good beer if you like lager beer.
Mm-hmm. I had the Brown Eye Girl Brown Ale, which was fantastic, and I'm looking forward to trying the IPA here in a little bit as well.
And I drank it all.
That's even better.
I guess I do have one more question. You had mentioned before about going to Matt with different breweries when they would new open. Do you still get a chance to get out to many breweries now and kind of, not necessarily even compare, but just be able to go and kind of relax and check out a new place?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Good. It's always good to be able to still maintain the ability to do that.
So do you have a favorite?
No, that would be impolite. I can tell you that the next one I want to go to is Beer Cave in Hopkins.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I don't think I've been to that
I've
one.
never been to that one either.
So I'll put that on my list.
Yep.
Exactly. So, well, Warren, we appreciate you joining us up here and making the trek north, and I definitely appreciate you bringing us the beer as well.
Okay.
Hope you enjoyed listening along with us or watching along, I guess, depending on where you're consuming either the beer or the podcast itself. But definitely go check out Thunder Brothers in Asani or a couple of different liquor stores that are kind of around the area. Be able to find yourself some and, definitely enjoy it. But until next time, cheers.